Now I understand the title might get your 6.5 fanboys to immediately click off this rifle and smash the dislike button and even leave an angry comment. But please, stick around for the video. I promise you by the end of this video, you'll either agree with me or see where I'm coming from. This is a no BS clickbait title. I'm actually gonna break things down and talk about exactly why myself, the 6.5 PRC is just not a good caliber for me. Now, something you definitely don't want to forget before we get into this video is if you'd like to help support the channel directly, the best way to do that is shopping at onlytacticalfans.shopify.com, where I sell merchandise that helps support this whole channel because I'm currently demonetized from YouTube, likely forever. Still trying to get remonetized, but it's not looking good right now. So your guys' support is what keeps the lights on and keeps everything going, and I do appreciate it. Now this video is for Tyler2141. He asked, basically do a 6.5 PRC video. And you know what? I've been asking for it for 2 days. Here, Tyler, we're actually on day 3, but I'm going to handle that for you. And I do appreciate the comments like that. A lot of my videos actually come from you guys asking for different things. They're actually quite inspiring, so don't be afraid to ask for something if you'd like to see it. All right, so quick personal note. My daily driver was a 243. I built that AR-10. Now understand that that wasn't originally designed to be a marksman rifle. That rifle was originally designed to smash body armor. And it did it. It did it very well. Like that, I was impressed by the performance of that rifle. However, once I had achieved that goal, well, you know what? What's next? It shoots like a laser. It's incredibly accurate. It basically has negligible recoil. And it's slowly winding up morphing its way into more of a DMR role. Now, start over. If I were to do that today, and you know, body armor wasn't in there, and hunting wasn't in there, because a 243 is going to hunt better than a 6.5 or a 6mm Creedmoor just because of ammo availability, special hunting loads, the velocity, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. So, because I would not use that rifle for hunting and it would be more of a DMR role, today if I rebuilt it, it would be 6mm Creedmoor. I just like it better. Now the baseline for this video though is going to be 6.5mm Creedmoor because that's more widely known and people understand it, and there's got to be a baseline. The point is, if I'm going to build a cartridge or a rifle based around a cartridge, I'm going to compare all cartridges in that particular sphere. So if it's going to be semi-automatic, we're going to compare 6mm Creedmoor, 6.5mm Creedmoor 308, 708. I can't think of any other ones that are in a particular AR-10. Now for bolt action, we're going to compare everything. Everything that can fit into a bolt action needs to be compared to decide what particular cartridge I want. I don't really care about bolt action size. What I care about, can it fit in a gas gun? If not, well, now it goes into the bolt gun category. So I have to compare all the bolt gun categories. Basically, if I can fit something in a semi-automatic magazine for an AR-10, that's where I'm going. Immediately, right off the rip. That said, again, the baseline is going to be 6.5 Creedmoor just because everyone understands that cartridge better. Yeah, I like 6mm Creedmoor better, but 6.5 is generally understood in the firearms community, especially for long range performance, cheap ammo, mild kick, fast follow-up shots. It's just better altogether. All right, so if a bolt gun clearly beats a 6.5mm Creedmoor, you know, again, we're not talking about 308s and 243s and all that. We're going 6.5 to keep the video simple. Then that's where I'm going to start looking at it, because otherwise it's going to slow me down. The rifle's going to be more expensive. It's just, for me, it's just better to automatically default to a semi-auto. Semi-auto versus bolt. Let's be real. 243, 6mm Creedmoor, 6.5mm Creedmoor runs flawlessly in AR-10. As I was saying earlier, that's why I would go to those. But PRCs, no, they do not. No matter how hard you push, you're just not going to be able to get the the PRC cartridges into an AR-10 magazine. Not even if you spit on them, ladies. It's just not going to fit, no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it, so it has to be a bolt gun. Now, there are a couple of bougie, weird, it's KT-10 or something like that I had stumbled across. Great Lakes Firearms that'll offer a 6.5 PRCs in a semi-auto. I don't really, I'm not willing to go with a bougie semi-auto. Yes, the Barrett 50 cal, that could be considered bougie, but I don't, because that's established. The military runs it. There's thousands of them on the market. all the research and development has been done on those bougie 308s, or not 308s, bolt guns for, man, I can't talk today. Those bougie gas guns for those PRC cartridges, you're basically research and development. Because there's not a whole bunch of them out there, yeah, they've done as much as they could, but really, like, real field testing is where you'll discover problems and you'll find fixes for the rifle. I don't want to be research and development for this specialty bougie rifle, and they're just not proven. They're finicky, they're nowhere near as proven as like a DPMS or a PSA AR-10 in 6.5 Creedmoor. So, that, yes, again, I acknowledge 300 PRC, there is semi-automatic packages out there, but essentially I consider them as unicorns. I would not pick them, it's just not for me. If that's for you, then that's good. No hate, no talking bad about you, that's good for you. Another huge win for semi-automatic packages is they're cheaper. AR-10s are mass produced. You could grab a very solid 6.5 Creedmoor AR-10 for what? $1,200, $1,500 all day. PSA, auto builds, Diamondback, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, all day. Like they're out there, they're tested, they run great. Bolt guns, seriously, long range work, like you actually want a legit bolt gun to be able to shoot, you know, a half inch at 100 yards and you want it to do it 10 times in a string with a PRC, yeah, good luck for finding one around $1,000, $2,000. I'm sure there's some sort of exception out there that people blow the comments up with, but I just don't see it. So for me, starting, just starting, because I'm going to build my bolt gun, I'm going to start with an Accuracy International chassis, which is going to cost you between $1,500 and $2,000. That's just the chassis. We're not talking about an action. We're not talking about a barrel. We're not talking about a trigger system. Nothing. Just the chassis. A completely non-functional firearm. It's not even considered a firearm by the definition of the ATF, and their definition is so vague. They consider basically everything a firearm. They consider the auto key card a firearm, and they don't consider this chassis a firearm, and you spent $1,500 to $2,000 on it. Yeah, you could have bought a completely running AR-10 for that price alone. And now you still got to get your barrel, which is probably going to be $1,000. You got to get your action, which depending on what action you use is probably going to be $1,000. So now you got $3,000 and it still can't fire. Now you got to get a muzzle brake, a trigger system, a bipod, a scope. You see where it's going here? Like a good, in my head, a good solid bolt action, you're going to be looking between $5,000 and $10,000. That's just where I'm at. Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there. So the AR-10s are definitely cheaper up front. I don't see any argument to say otherwise. So bolt action calibers, to justify the slower operation, the added price, all that, I gotta see some serious performance out of it. And I'm also gonna compare all bolt action cartridges. I don't care if it's a slightly longer cartridge or can sit in a slightly shorter action, all of them gotta be considered. All right, the first reality check when you're deciding on these particular rifles is obviously ammunition costs, because that matters. So what we're going to do for this particular comparison is we have $1,000, and we're going to buy $1,000 of ammunition for each package, and let's see what we're going to get, because the ammunition cost is clearly representative with your ability to get good on the firearm. Obviously, if you're a multimillionaire, then ammunition costs don't matter, you know, do what you want. But for the rest of us, how many dollars it costs for each time you pull the trigger will definitely affect your skill with that particular firearm, because learning the firearm, learning the windage, learning the platform, reading the wind, dialing in the scope, feeling how the rifle shoots, learning it, and just getting it all buttoned up and down happens faster with cheaper ammunition, because you can buy more shots per trigger pull. The ammunition cost is literally your skill ceiling. The cheaper the ammo, the better you're going to be with the rifle. That's why 22 long rifles, if it's a solid like precision rifle, you're going to be a surgeon with that thing. Go to like a 50 cal that you can only shoot a couple of times a year. Yeah, you're not that great. I see it all the time at gun ranges too. Hunting season will come up, and this guy hasn't shot the rifle since last hunting season. He's literally going to be justifying a moral kill on a deer, and he shoots the rifle 5 times a year. 4 times at the gun range, once at a deer. And he's like, oh, I can't figure out what's wrong with this rifle. It's shooting all over the place and things just aren't working. And every year he's just dialing on a scope, trying to get a zero back on that thing. Yeah, it's because you're not shooting the rifle. Your cheek's not in the same position as it was 12 months ago. You have to constantly do that. You got to build the muscle memory. Muscle memory is key to precision shooting. It truly, truly is. So the cheaper you can get into the ammunition, the faster you're going to learn the platform and the better you're ultimately going to be. All right, so now that I've explained why ammunition cost matters, obviously there's rich people out there where it doesn't. We're going to put this test, we're going to put a $1,000 ceiling on it. So how much ammunition could you buy for $1,000 on each particular platform? And it's not just ammunition you're buying. Again, remember, you're literally buying skill, because skill comes from trigger time. So for our baseline semi-automatic AR-10 and 6.5 Creedmoor, you are looking at about $2.10 per round to $2.30 per round. So what does that translate to ammunition? You may ask. Well, that's 450 rounds to 470 rounds. Not too bad. That's a lot of trigger time for $1,000 bucks. All right, 6.5 PRC. You're looking at $3.20 to $3.60 per round. That's 280 to 310 rounds of ammunition for $1,000. That's 35 to 40% less skill you're going to achieve by going with a 6.5 PRC versus a 6.5 Creedmoor. All right, so 300 PRC. You're looking at between $4.20 to $4.80 per round. That is 210 to 235 rounds for $1,000. That's half the trigger time. Literally half the trigger time is, say, an AR-10. Real world example where this can definitely come into play. When I was fighting my issue with the 300 PRC and I'd get random flyers, this is literally what the target would look like right here, and I couldn't figure it out, and it turned out to be the carbon fiber barrel. The 300 PRC just overheated it, so I'd get like 3 or 4 shots that were nice and tight, well under sub MOA, and then number 4, number 5 would bring my group up to like 2.75 inches, and the goal was 5 shots and stay sub MOA, and I just couldn't do it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I would go through things and I'm like, so maybe it's the tripod. No, it's not the tripod. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem here. So I tried different shooting styles, and I was talking to a bunch of long range people and trying different ways to lay and how to decompress myself. Anyways, I spent over $1,000 at the range worth of ammunition trying to figure out what was going on, tested different loads, cleaning it, torque checks, scope mounts, everything. It ultimately winded up being the barrel, and in hindsight, I should have swapped the barrel to a steel barrel immediately, but I just couldn't wrap my head around the idea that a $1,500 proof research carbon fiber barrel could not hold a group past a few shots. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, this is like the most expensive barrel on the market. Why am I getting flyers? And I was like, it's something else. Maybe the scope is broke. Maybe it's the mounts. I don't know. But yeah, it turned out to wind up being the barrel, so I kept chasing ghosts when I should have just rebarreled it immediately. But again, my justification back then was like, it's not the barrel. It can't be the barrel. That's $1,000 in ammo just to get the rifle going. Yeah. I haven't even started getting skill yet. That's just to get the rifle so it can actually shoot properly. With a semi-automatic baseline, with all the range trips and same costs and everything, that could have happened way cheaper. Ultimately, go to an AR-10 platform if you can build it, because you're going to get less skill. You don't want to jump on one of these until you've hit a point to where you can't do the job with an AR-10. So basically, with all those numbers being considered, your 300 PRC, you're looking at 50% more punch on target. Yeah, your 6.5 PRCs do edge the semi-automatic slightly over like 243 and 6mm, but at that kind of range, if you're killing deer or whitetail, the semi-automatic package works just fine. So do you really need that much of an extra edge? I would say no. All right, let's stretch these ballistics out a little bit farther, because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're interested in. Let's go to 1,000 yards. All right, I made my video and I did ballistics by ranges and I just broke it down. However, the app I used to use for ballistics got deleted while I was incarcerated. Not deleted off my phone, it's gone. You can't download it anymore. Apparently it's not allowed in the Apple Store or something. I don't know. Anywho, So I had used AI to pull the ballistics for me because I tried a bunch of different ballistic apps and I just wasn't getting what I needed because a lot of them required you to manually enter in like velocity and stuff like that, and I just don't know it. I don't have guns right now and I don't have a chronograph to measure these cartridges even if I did. My old app, it used to be like I just go to like 225 grain, 300 PRC, Hornady, and it would already put in the ballistics, the velocity, everything, and boom, I'd just go down to whatever range I wanted to and I'd be able to screenshot that and I could use it and make really good videos off of that. I played with a couple of apps, couldn't find one I liked, which if you know one you like, recommend it. Anyway, so I used AI to pull some of the numbers, and while I was fact checking these numbers and editing, some of them are kind of wonky and they really don't make sense. So we're going to skip over the ballistic part of it, but just know 300 PRC, it puts the hammer to 6.5 PRC at extended ranges. There's no getting around it. It just does. So that was the whole point with the ballistics. Anyway, let's get back to the video. The 300 PRC goes transonic past 2,000 yards. And at 2,000 yards, you're still bringing 520 foot-pounds of kinetic energy into play right there. Only the 300 PRC is going to play reliably at that kind of range. It just is. Yes, the other cartridges can definitely shoot that far, but when you're talking about consistent first round on target or just plain ELR shooting for the sport of it, you're going to want to be at a 300 PRC. All right, so let's talk about recoil, because you got to pay a price. You can't just get free ballistics. That's not the way it works. So equal and opposite force. Remember Isaac Newton? Let's talk about what exactly we're looking at here. So for the baseline, 6.5 Creedmoor, you're looking at 15 to 18 foot-pounds. That's a pretty mild recoil. It's not that bad at all. So what about the 6.5 PRC, you may be asking? You're looking at 22 to 20 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. That's noticeable. Like that's not bad at all. 300 PRC, what are we looking at now? We're looking at 36 to 42 foot-pounds of energy. That kicks like a drunk chick trying to get her panties off. Like, that's some hard kicking. I'll roll in some video of what that kick actually looks like if you don't have a good muzzle brake on there. Yeah, after I got a good muzzle brake on there, that tamed it down. But at first I was running, it was still a muzzle brake. There was still a muzzle brake on there, but it wasn't big enough. That's what the kick is going to look like. That's a pretty wild kick, isn't it? So basically that equals out to, it's going to be easier to build skill on the semi-automatic baseline. It's just going to be. You have less things to worry about, less kick, less ammunition costs. It's just better. All right, so at this point you might be asking, so, hey CRS, what's up with the title then? I've seen a lot of ballistics, I've seen a lot of talking, but you haven't really explained exactly why the 6.5 PRC sucks. And, well, let's get into that. For 90% of us, what it brings to the table just doesn't best a semi-automatic baseline enough to justify the cost. The insane price, the added recoil, you're going to get less skill, bolt manipulation. It's not enough difference, in my opinion, to make a difference, to make it worth going to a bolt gun versus, say, like something else, like the 300 PRC. In the 300 PRC, there's a difference there. Now you're talking about a real hammer, a big game, just sludge hammer that can put huge ballistics on the target. Remember, a shotgun at the muzzle brings, what is it, like 3,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Dude, the 300 PRC is putting that kind of kinetic energy downrange, like way downrange. So, sometimes worth the pain. I don't really see the added worth the pain for the 6.5 PRC. The cost, the recoil, all that, I'm just not getting enough over our baseline semi-automatic gun to make it worth it. Now, the obvious question is, so if that's all that matters, if it's a bolt gun and you're going to compare all bolt gun cartridges into one category, which I am, and for me, it breaks down to AR-15, AR-10, bolt gun. That's why I would never go with a 30-06. I'm just not going to. Because a 30-06 is going to be in a bolt action, it's going to suck compared to all other bolt action cartridges. Now, an M1 Grand, that's a little bit different. But as far as like a bolt action cartridge, I would never ever pick that. I just wouldn't, because I can get the same kind of performance out of a 308 in a semi-automatic package for far cheaper. So the next obvious question is, why not go with a 338 Lapua? I mean, it outperforms the 300 PRC ballistically, like hands down. It stays supersonic farther, it hits harder, it's a whole nother level of the ELR world. It truly is. Like, If you can afford it, the 338 Lapua is the way to go. And the answer for me is ammunition cost. 90% of us, a 338 Lapua is just going to be, we're going to be priced out of the market. You're looking at $7 to $10 per round. So that $1,000, yeah, you're looking at maybe 120 rounds for $1,000. That's insane. If I would have had a 338 Lapua when I was running into those problems with the barrel, that rifle today would still be broken because I wouldn't have been able to get enough money to be able to test the barrel and discover out what the issue is. So for me, and I believe most of you, a 300 PRC is basically the ceiling. That's where you're going to have to go for long-range ELR rifles, unless, of course, you have unlimited money. For example, when I win my appeal and I sue the dog shit out of the government, one of the things on my to-buy list is going to be a 338 Lapua. Until that day, realistically, I mean, we'll say my gun rights get back, but I win my appeal, my gun rights are back, but I haven't got a lawsuit yet. The 300 PRC is the ceiling. I cannot afford to shoot a 338 Lapua. I can't afford to shoot a 50 cal. I can't afford to shoot a 408 Chi-Tech. None of that. The most I can spend and realistically still be able to get enough skill and enough trigger time to make it worth it is a 300 PRC. So that's why I wouldn't go with a 338 Lapua. Yes, again, it's a better choice, but 90% of us are going to be priced out. So anyways, Tyler, thank you for the comment. I do appreciate it. This was a fun video to make. Dream big. Dream for the 338, but until that happens, I believe 300 PRC is going to be where you want to go. It's just the 6.5 PRC, you're not getting enough to make it worth switching from a semi-auto to a bolt gun. A 300 PRC, you most certainly are. And that's my philosophy. If I'm going to a bolt gun, it's going to be a 30 cal or bigger. But that's just me. Anyways, I do appreciate you guys watching the video and supporting me through all this. If you'd like to help support me, there's a couple of different ways to do it. One, bam! You can click on this little QR code right here and donate a Cash App. Now, I understand that's a lot of money, and same with the merchandise, so you might not want to do that. Here's an option that doesn't cost you a penny. You go down in the description down below, and you click on my Amazon affiliate link. Even if you don't buy what that particular link is for, just clicking on it. And doing the Amazon shopping you're already going to do anyway, I have a kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.